Today, I will be showing you a step-by-step guide on how to maximize your days at theme parks this summer. This guide will dive into how to avoid lines, when to eat, overall, how to have the best day at theme parks this season. And enough of the yap, let's get to maybe the most important part, the planning stage. First, we gotta pick a day in which you're gonna go to these theme parks. I would suggest never, and I mean never, go on a Saturday. Sundays are passable, but Saturdays are a death sentence to long lines. I know it sounds nice being able to sleep in the next morning after a long park day, but that's what everybody else is thinking, and it's going to be packed. I would try to go on any day in the middle of the week, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, when people have work. I have also been on many Mondays and Fridays, and those are all good options as well if you can only go on those dates. Also, another quick tip, make sure you dress appropriately. Go with pants with zippers so you don't have to rent lockers, and so that you can ride rides with your stuff in your pockets, but they don't actually fly out and hit somebody. I would also say definitely wear gym shoes. Crocs are alright, but I see people walking around parks with sandals all the time, and it just baffles me. Like, they wake up and decide, yeah, let's walk 5 miles in sandals the whole day. That sounds like a great idea. But now, let's head to the actual park. Now that we have selected a date, let's start with what time to wake up and get ready for your day at the park. Now, it depends how far away the park is and how early entry works. If you wanted to go to one of those, I would 100% recommend going to early entries because lines are super short. For example, in this video, I will be using Cedar Point and Islands of Adventure as examples. For me, it takes around a 2-hour drive to get to Cedar Point, so I would wake up around 6:15 and leave around 6:30 to 6:40. And for Islands, they open at 8, so I would wake up at 6:40 and leave at 7 and get to the park at 7:30. But what I'm basically saying is pull up to the park and get all your stuff in order, go through security like at Islands, so by the time you get to the front entrance, it's ready to open, and you're able to immediately go around the park and go whatever ride you want. Also, a little tip, at Cedar Point, they let you in even before the rides open for early entry, so you might be able to get in at like 8:40, 8:50, and even earlier if you wanted to. But you want to be some of the first people in line to get into the park so that you can rush to that very first ride of the day, and let's actually discuss that. Now, this step is super important because if you want to wait in the least amount of lines, you want to do these steps. For early entry, you want to ride the most popular ride that is open and not get out of the way since you don't want to be stuck in a line for 2 or more hours later in the day. For Cedar Point, I would say you want to hit up Millennium Force, but my personal strategy, go hit up Gatekeeper for 1 or 2 rides, and then go to Millennium Force because by the time Millennium Force, you get in line, you get out, and early entry is about over. And for Islands, go to Hagrid's immediately since it constantly gets the longest lines the entire day, and if you can knock it out during early entry when it's only a 45 to an hour long wait, that is a huge success. Now that you've gotten all your rides during early entry and the normal people are starting to walk in with that little remaining time left, you're going to want to rope drop the ride in the park that consistently gets the longest lines. For Cedar Point, or run to Maverick since that thing always has around a 2-hour line, but for this year, I would say go to Top Thrill 2 or Science Curse since they're going to be new and attract a lot of lines, and for Islands, go straight to Velocicoaster. Now that we have gotten the most popular rides out of the way, let's go ride some other great rides in the back of the park, since the back hasn't been flooded yet, so we're going to be able to get another ride or two before the crowds get very large. At Islands, I would suggest going back to the Harry Potter section and go ride the Amazing Forbidden Journey, and for Cedar Point, go to Steel Vengeance or Maverick, whatever one that you didn't ride first thing in the morning. After that, make your way from the back to the front in like a circular motion, getting some good rides on Gemini, Magnum, and Top Thrill 2 if you didn't ride it already at Cedar Point. And for Islands, I would say go to Reign of Kong, and then circle your way to Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls. Alright, you've been in the park for a couple hours, and you're ready to eat. And for me, there are 2 ways that you could do this. Get a food plan where every 2 hours or so you get some food. I would say this is good for groups that are like 3 to 5 people, since you could just rotate the meals every 2 hours, and everybody can get some good food across the day. Or you could just sit down for 1 meal, which is something I've been doing a lot recently. So you could get 1 meal around 12 to 1 o'clock. That is just sit down while everybody's in line, since 12 o'clock is around peak time for theme parks. This allows you time to get rest in the shade, get some food, water, get it all regenerated, while those lines are at a sky high. Yeah, I wish I had a trick for midday lines, but I don't. It's just truly purgatory for theme parks. That's because during this time from 1 to 4 o'clock usually, most rides are going to have long lines that you can't really avoid. I would say you're gonna have to sit in some bad lines that are usually an hour or 2 until the lines start to die down later in the day, and continuing in that circular motion to get around the park. Cedar Point, get some rides like Raptor and Val Raven at the front, and at Islands, get some rides in the Marvel section like Spider-Man, Hulk, or Doctor Doom. But at this point, it should be around 3 to 5 o'clock, in which at this point, you should have ridden mostly everything, and I would say, at this point, you're good to ride whatever you want. You have done all the major attractions, so now you can go back to any that you missed earlier, or you could get some rerides on your favorite attractions, or anything that you may have skipped across the way that you don't want to miss before you leave. Now, for the night rides, you're gonna want to get on one of these before you leave, since night rides are just truly amazing. Just track the time closely, so when the park is nearing closing time, you can hop in line to get one of those last rides of the night. Cedar Point closes at 9 instead of Islands, so I would get to the line around 8:45, since you don't want to be in another line and have to sprint your way over just to see that the ride is already closed for the day. Just have a little error room, basically. For Cedar Point, I would recommend Steve or Maverick, since both are great at night, and for Islands, I would also recommend Velocicoaster or Hagrid's. Both are amazing as well. I use these strategies all the time, and recently used these strategies at Islands during peak spring break time, and I was able to get a ride on at least everything one time, and I hope you use this strategy as well. Unless you just have a fast pass, then why'd you even watch this video? Like, you just bought the cheat code. Why'd you watch? Thanks for watching. Remember, do whatever you want, do whatever strategy you feel is necessary, but this is a strategy that I use at most theme parks, and how to maximize my day, and remember, no matter what, have a fun day.